Hello there. I am Bernie Miklasz. I think you know that, right? But anyway, I have another Bernie Show video to offer today, presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Just a reminder that you can watch all of my videos and read all of my columns at sportshubstl.com. As soon as I'm finished recording this today, it's about 11:15 or so in the morning. This Friday, I will get to work on my daily Redbird review. So you can read the columns, watch the videos here at sportshubstl.com, and you can grab the podcast version of the videos if you prefer that. You go to Apple or Spotify and just sign up there. It's free of charge, but just sign up to make sure you're subscribed, and they'll shoot them to you. Anyway, the Cardinals are in Arlington for the weekend, 3-game series against the Texas Rangers, who have great starting pitching and a very bad offense. So we'll see how this will turn out. But we do know this. It's been a good year for the Cardinals so far, an entertaining season for the fans who put aside their pessimism and maybe their negative view of the Cardinals before the season to now enjoy what we're seeing from this surprise party kind of team, right? At 32-24, the Cardinals have a .571 winning percentage that ranks 8th in the majors, according to the simple rating system at Baseball Reference, otherwise known as SRS. The Cardinals are number 6 overall, behind only the Yankees, Cubs, Tigers, Mets, and Dodgers. That's just one other sort of independent view of how good of a team it is, at least to this point. Of course, 2 months does not make a season, so the Cardinals are going to have to prove that they're for real. They're the real deal over the next 4 months. But with only 2 more games to go in May, because it'll be June 1st on Sunday, it's been a good run for a St. Louis team that was ranked 27th in the majors before the season in what The Athletic referred to as the hope-o-meter. That's basically a fan optimism ranking, and they did a poll on it. The Athletic did. These kind of things are always fun to me. So anyway, only 12% of Cardinals fans who responded to the Athletic survey said they were, quote, optimistic, unquote, about the 2025 team, which doesn't surprise me because, we were all feeling pretty negative or pretty down about the state of Cardinals baseball. But it's still also, that said, it's still also surprising, maybe even a little shocking when you look at the optimism level among fans, where going into the season, the only fan bases that had less optimism about their teams were the Angels, Rockies, and White Sox. And I think I speak for everyone when I say you don't want to see the Cardinals kind of hanging down there with the Rockies and White Sox, right? Or the Angels, for that matter. Here are a couple of comments, only because they made me smile. I'm not making fun of anybody. I just think the feeling on the ground in St. Louis before the season, it was pretty strong and it was pretty negative. And again, I'm not trying to revise history. It really was. And I understood the reasons. Anyway, so some of the people who voted on this, Cardinals fans, one said, quote, "This team is a rudderless wreck seeking a reef to crash on." Second quote from a Cardinals fan who responded to the survey, quote, if this team was someone's plan, they should be banned from baseball for life. Well, John Mozeliak won't be banned for life, but he is resigning at the end of the season, and Chaim Bloom's taking over. So maybe you have to settle for that one. Listen, I don't think I was quite that negative, and I had an open mind about the Cardinals. I said that repeatedly. I'm keeping an open mind, because I thought maybe they'd be a little better than the worst case doom and gloom scenarios that we all heard about. So I had an open mind, but let's not get carried away. I mean, I said I thought they were a team probably win between 78, 80, 81 games, something like that, which is hardly a rousing endorsement. The Cardinals obviously are doing better than anticipated, and that's part of the fun in watching them, right? We all love underdogs, and they really epitomize the term underdog. I was thinking about this and some other things late last night and again on Friday morning, and after working up a few numbers, and I should say just after doing some homework, is a better way to put it, I came up with some stuff that explains why this team is so special. The first part we'll talk about now. The short answer, because they are a team. They play team baseball. There are good players and pitchers, of course, on the St. Louis Cardinals. But in terms of all-around play, let's be honest, not that anybody would really push back on this. The Cardinals do not have any huge stars. They have some stars in the making, like Mason Wynn is a star in the making, for example, but they don't have Somebody's going to do a thing where say, who are the top 20 players in baseball, either pitcher or hitter? There's not going to be a Cardinal in there. Now, sure, Nolan Arenado might get some recognition because he does have that widespread recognition and that name brand value because of what he's done in what has been a terrific career. But that's more of an acknowledgement of what he's done in the past, right? Cardinal players won't be asked to pitch products as part of some national marketing campaign. You're not going to be seeing him doing those Allstate commercials, things like that athletes appear on. And will the Cardinals have a player elected to start for the National League in the All-Star game in 2025? Well, I wouldn't rule anything out. I mean, Brendan Donovan's having a heck of a season, but for now, I'd have to say it's doubtful, and I'm not being negative. I'm just being realistic. And plus, to be voted in by the fans, like a lot of it has to do with your own ballpark and how many people show up for the games. Is your ballpark filled? Is it half empty? How many people are motivated to vote? I mean, there's a lot of things. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is the St. Louis precinct would have to come up really, really big to get someone like Brendan Donovan or maybe Mason Wynn voted onto the National League lineup. And I'm talking about as a starter, and that's a fan vote. See, but the fact that the Cardinals are a relatively low-key, relatively anonymous team only makes this ball club more endearing, at least to me anyway. It's satisfying to watch the Cardinals day after day and come away with a similar feeling after most of those days. This is a team. It is not a random collection of talent. This is a team in the traditional sense. Well, what do you mean about a traditional sense? All right, to quote Aristotle, I don't believe he was a baseball writer, but I could be mistaken. But anyway, to quote Aristotle, he said, quote, "The whole is greater than the sum of the parts." Well, that time-honored saying really fits the Cardinals, really fits them well, and there is no doubt about that. And I have some stuff that I'm going to share that will bring this to light, the stuff about the whole being greater than the sum of the parts. I'm going to give stuff to kind of galvanize that, to kind of reveal why the Cardinals are a fit for that saying. And later on, I'll also explain the impact of having a looser and happier team environment. But first, some word about DraftKings and the daily pick six game. I love talking about DraftKings, and they cover a wide variety of sports. They have a lot available for you to choose from if you're going to play the game. But if you think you know Major League Baseball, then it's time to put your knowledge to use. Put it to work. Win some big cash prizes through the daily pick six contest. And DraftKings pick six, you just focus on player stats. You select anywhere from 2 to 6 players for each game or any game that you want, 2 to 6 players. And whether the individual player will go higher or lower on a specific stat set for his next game by DraftKings. For example, we mentioned Mason Wynn. Let's bring him into this. Cardinals are in Texas tonight. Do you think Wynn will get a hit against the Rangers? Just one hit, because as of this morning, DraftKings had set a line of 0.5 hits for Mason Wynn. So if you believe Mason wins, well, of course, heck yeah, Bernie, he'll get a hit. Okay, then you go above the line set for Wynn, and if you're right, you win. Or you can say, well, I have a feeling maybe tonight he doesn't match up well against that pitcher, whatever it may be. You can choose to go lower if you believe Wynn will go hitless. And if he goes hitless, then you win. See, it really is that simple. And pick six is fun. And so here's my invitation to get the game, for you to get into the game to take your best shot at winning money. Pick six is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. You'll enjoy tracking your selected players while the games are in progress. That's part of the fun. But the most entertaining part of this is winning. And you can do that at DraftKings. They even provide some information when you go there. You see the app, and it's an easy app. It's easy to get started. You download the DraftKings app and you open an account. Then you choose a sport. Then you pick your players, and then you go for it. What I was going to say is, it's like, for example, if you were thinking about the Mason Wynn thing that I talked about, when you go in there, you click on Mason Wynn, and it brings up some information that tells you how recently he's been doing relative to whatever the stat line was set for him. So you don't have to go into this without any previous knowledge. DraftKings is very helpful in that regard. So New players at DraftKings get $50 in Pick 6 credits instantly with just a $5 entry. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use the code STL Sports. That's code STL Sports for new customers to pay $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Pretty sweet. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
All right, let's go to segment number 2 of the Bernie Show as I continue to talk about the 2025 Cardinals and explain why I think they're unique in a way and certainly a special team so far. Why they qualify for the, quote, whole is greater than the sum of the parts philosophy. I have some numbers that reaffirm this, and that's the only reason why I'm going to use the numbers. So let's count it down. Number 1, the Cardinals are the only National League team that have 10 position players or pitchers with at least one win above replacement. In other words, the replacement level is just like any guy. It's like basically the equivalent of a minor league call-up. Just a guy when you're at the replacement level. And at this part of the season, you know, the WAR totals for individual players are still low because the more a player plays, the more the WAR thing becomes a fact. The more it builds up, or on the opposite end, the more it decreases based on performance. So right now, if you have one win above replacement, you know, that's fine. I mean, some of the best players are you know, above that. The Cardinals' best player so far is Brendan Donovan, who's already got 2.2 wins above replacement. So I'm just trying to give you a frame of reference because, listen, man, I know that a lot of you cringe at the term wins above replacement. I get it. It's not for everybody. I'm only using it as a reference to make a point about the Cardinals having a really good team because there's no big, huge shining stars, but there's a lot of players performing well. That's my only purpose here for using wins above replacement. So anyway, the Cardinals are the only NL team with 10 position players or pitchers that have at least one win above replacement. The 10 Cards with one win above replacement or more are Brendan Donovan, Mason Wynn, Matthew Liberatore, Ivan Herrera, Victor Scott, Lars Nootbaar, Steven Matz, Sonny Gray, Nolan Arenado, and Miles Michaelis. The relievers, by the way, as the season goes on, they will get higher. They'll get to a certain WAR level. Like Ryan Helsley last year, I think he was third, maybe fourth in Major League Baseball with 2.3 wins above replacement among relievers. It was like put him in the top 5. So the relievers are in a little bit of a different category, but again, those numbers will come. And the Cardinals say, hey, Steven Matz has worked in relief quite a bit, and look at where his numbers are as far as wins above replacement. All right, I'm sorry for babbling about this. You know, my point is, like, you don't have to know about wins above replacement. You don't have to like the metric, but it's good to know. The reason I'm using it, because it's good to know because of what it tells us. The Cardinals may not have a superstar, but they have a lot of good players. They have a lot of winning players that in terms of, hey, it's called wins above replacement. Guys that are providing wins above the replacement level. Their total of 10 guys with at least one win above replacement, it's more than the Dodgers have, the Padres have, the Cubs and the Phillies and the Mets have. The Cardinals have 6 position players with at least 1.0 WAR, which is tied for second most among National League clubs behind the Dodgers. And with 4 pitchers with 1 or more wins above replacement, the Cardinals are tied for first in the National League with the Mets, the Phillies, and the Padres. Again, with all due respect to the Cardinals, when you see how they rank among position players and pitchers in terms of wins above replacement, when it broke it down in those 2 categories, tell me who the superstar is, right? We could click off quite a few for these other teams. So that's what I love about this Cardinals team because, and I'm going to keep coming back to this theme, it is a team. It's not 1 or 2 guys trying to carry everything. Their value is spread out up and down the roster. That, my friends, is a team. And that's why we like this team, because it is a team. Number 2, let's shift the focus to defense. I like this. This took me a while to work this up, but it was worth the time because I get fired up about stuff like this. So number 2, let's shift to the defense. The Cardinals are an excellent overall team. Their team defense leads the majors in outs above average and way, way up there in some other categories. But the distinction is even more impressive when we break it down by position, which I'm going to do now. The Cardinals aren't a team defensively. They've got like 2 or 3 superstar or like gold glove caliber, like 3-4 gold glove caliber players or whatever. In terms of like outs above average. It's like sometimes it can be misleading because you might have 2 just phenomenal fielders and they supply or they're responsible for a team's count, a high percentage of the team's count for outs above average. But you take them away, those 2 guys that sort of inflate the overall team for, their numbers for outs above average, then you take the very best 2 or 3 guys out of there, then all of a sudden you look and it's like, wow, most of these other guys are below average, that kind of thing. That doesn't apply here. The Cardinals are the only team in the National League that does not have a below average defensive performance at any position. The Cardinals are above average at every spot, and they are exactly average at second base. But even that's misleading because Brendan Donovan is actually a +1 in outs above average at second base. When Nolan Gorman is played at second base, they're not quite as good. So that's why, as a position, it's average. Catchers are not rated based on outs above average, but in the defensive run saved category, the St. Louis catchers rank 4th overall. So think about that. You've got 8 position players plus the pitchers. And by the way, the Cardinals pitchers field their position very well. So, you've got your, your catcher, first base, second base, shortstop, third base, left field, center field, right field, pitcher. And there is only 1 spot on the field that is exactly average. None are below average. So when I say the Cardinals, when any of us say, well, the Cardinals play exceptional team defense, it means, yeah, they really do play exceptional team defense, right? Number 3, the Cardinals don't have a big home run hitter. Their leader is Lars Nootbaar with 8. The Cardinals don't have anyone high on the National League leaderboard for runs batted in. Wilson Contreras leads the Redbirds with 29 RBIs. You know where that ranks among National League hitters as at the time I record this? He's 30th. He's 30th in the National League in RBIs. That's the Cardinals' leader in RBIs. But it's a little misleading in a way because the Cardinals have a lot of dudes who are driving in runs. They are spreading it around, man. Everybody's putting in their piece. Everybody's chipping in RBIs. As of now, as of this morning, the Cardinals are the only National League team that has 10 hitters with 15 or more runs batted in. The only team in the National League that has got 10 guys that have at least 15 RBIs. And St. Louis has 8 hitters with 20 RBIs or more, which ties them with the Dodgers and the Cubs for number 1 in the National League. Share the wealth, man, or create the wealth and then share it. That's what they're doing in terms of driving in runs. The Cardinals are also tied for 3rd in the National League with their total of 8 hitters that have cranked at least 4 or more home runs this season. So it's not a big home run hitting team, but what home runs they do hit, they're distributed fairly equally. That's a plus. Here's another example of what I'm talking about. We all know the Cardinals hit a lot of doubles, and doubles are good. They might not be home runs, but doubles are good. The Cardinals spread that offense around, and the doubles part of it is part of what they're spreading around. The Redbirds and the Diamondbacks are the only National League teams this season that have 10 hitters with at least 5 or more doubles. What about base running? Somebody might say, I don't know, well, the Cardinals don't steal a lot of bases. Victor Scott does, but base running, they don't steal bags. They're pretty dormant in that way. Yeah, and in fact, they're 12th among the 15 National League teams in stolen bases, but I don't care about it. I don't care about it at all. You know why? because the Cardinals don't have enough players who know how to steal bases well. They don't have great team speed in terms of stealing bases. So unless you can steal bags at an above average rate, and with the rules changes, for stolen bases to matter, you better have a percentage somewhere between 78, 80, 82% success rate. And the Cardinals aren't close to that. So with me, and some of you probably heard me say this a bunch of times, why would I want to see the Cardinals try to steal bases when it's going to result in frequent throwouts? What's the point of wasting an out on something you don't do well? But this is the part I like to talk about this, because it always gets overlooked. I've always said I love base running, as in on the bases, moving up, taking the extra base on the run, scoring from first on a double, scoring from second on a single, going from first to third on a hit, advancing on a ground out, making sure you advance on a ball that might get away from the catcher to the point where it's not automatic that you're going to make the next base. The Cardinals, as of Friday morning, lead the National League with 60 bases taken, which tells us what we need to know about their effective overall base running. There is a hell of a lot more to quality base running than stealing bases, and the Cardinals are showing that. Their overall base running is very good. Stolen bases, not so much. But I'd rather have a team than instead of like wasting outs trying to steal on, like stupid missions that have a very little chance of success. I like seeing the Redbirds running around when they're already on base and they're not concerned about stealing bases, but they are concerned about advancing an extra base or moving up on a fly ball or a ground ball, that kind of thing. They're good at that. And that's another aspect to the Cardinals' success that to me is really appealing. And there's another aspect to the Cardinals' success that's more of an intangible, and I am going to explain that after this. But first, man, we're going to get to our final segment in a minute here. But as always, I like to deliver some words of encouragement to my fellow man and what Blue Chew can do for you out there, guys, gentlemen, especially those of you around my age. Please listen. Blue Chew can help you have a more pleasurable and fulfilling life with your significant other. So why miss out? I have no hesitation in making sure you know about the benefits of Blue Chew. Why? Because I've been there and done that, and it's easy to take care of the problem. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for enhanced intimacy. You think of Blue Chew as someone to get you going. It's your leadoff hitter, right? So when it's time to turn your attention away from sports and focus on your partner, Blue Chew is there for you. You will get your first month of Blue Chew free. You're just a few clicks away from that, and it's really easy to get started. You sign up at bluechew.com. That's bluechew.com. You consult with one of their licensed medical providers. Once you're approved, you're going to receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew tablets are made and prepared in the United States and directly shipped to your door. It's all done online. There's no visits to the doctor's office. There's no being on hold. There's no awkward conversations. There's no waiting in line at the pharmacy. You just order online in the peace and comfort of your own home. Order online and you are good to go. Trust Uncle Bernie when I tell you there's nothing more attractive to your partner than confidence, and Blue Chew will help give you the confidence you need. We've got a special deal for our listeners and viewers. We'll try your first month of Blue Chew free when you use the promo code Bernie. You pay just $5 shipping in this deal. You only $5 shipping, you get the first month free. That's promo code Bernie. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the Bernie Show. All right, here's the final segment on why the Cardinals are unique, why they are special, why I love watching them play and kind of what they represent. And I know many of you feel the same way, and more of you are feeling the same way. There are no stats from what I'm about to share unless you want to attach it to the fact that the Cardinals are 18-7 in May for a .720 winning percentage that's second best in the majors this month. This is a happy team. It's a unified team. It's a team that shares in the joy of playing ball for a living. The camaraderie is excellent. And when I say the Cardinals are loose, that's a compliment. You don't want your team to have a loose defense. No, that would be bad, right? But it can be beneficial as long as you got enough talent to make it matter. It can be beneficial to have a loose, relaxed clubhouse environment, and the Cardinals definitely have that. And Let's talk about this word or this term, holding players accountable. Many associate that with the manager screaming at players behind the scenes or having a big, big to do about it, putting on a performance. Uh, that's called showboat accountability. That's called, theatrical accountability. It's not real accountability, because when managers do that stuff, when managers are performing for the TV camera, or they see media people standing nearby, it's you're not holding anyone accountable. You're trying to cover your own butt by putting on a show so that the media will notice it. And it's not effective because the players see right through it and they roll their eyes. The best kind of accountability is professional accountability, positive accountability. It's the manager and the coaches talking to the players, staying on top of things, staying on top of message, reinforcing the lessons, the things they have to work on to get better, making sure every player in the clubhouse is on point, knowing what's expected of them. You don't have to do that by screaming and trying to impress stupid media people who fall for that. You teach them, you encourage them, you hold them to a certain standard that has nothing to do with performing for the media. And yeah, if you do not like the way a player is taking care of his business or not taking care of his business, usually the manager will have a short meeting in his own office and just calmly explain what's got to change. And you know what's even better than that? And I've said this so many times, I don't know that enough people get it. The best kind of leadership is actually when the players take care of it on their own. And Tony La Russa was a very, very, very big proponent of that. He said, you these guys, I can't get in these guys' face all the time, every single day. The players have to take some ownership about holding each other accountable. And La Russa always said, and when that happens, you have a great clubhouse, because the Cardinals players themselves are taking care of business. And that impresses the other players. The fact that the internal leadership is so strong, you don't need the manager to come in and raise hell and put on a show. See, the Cardinals have that, and perhaps even better because of the way the players in this clubhouse hold each other accountable, and they do it in a constructive way. Nobody's trying to embarrass anybody. But when you have a tight-knit team, a close team, where there's open and free dialogue and you feel like you can say anything to anybody, as long as players are being held accountable in that way, that's very meaningful. And because everyone's on the same page, everyone talking about the players, they all trust each other to say what needs to be said. They don't take it personally. And when you have that kind of dynamic in the clubhouse, it's a really good thing. And the clubhouse is a happy place and everybody trusts each other. One of the problems the Cardinals have had over recent seasons, and yeah, I've written about it a lot, I've talked about it a lot, is they're trying to force some outdated Cardinal way principle that doesn't fit the times, and that belongs to a different era. There's another way to do that stuff. And the Cardinal way, by the way, is more of a teaching thing. And the Cardinals have a coaching staff and a manager. They all teach very, very well. But the Cardinal way, in terms of you have to act a certain way. You have to conduct yourself in a certain way. We don't do this kind of thing here. And this kind of thing here could just be horsing around in the clubhouse. You know me, the last couple of years, I've talked about that clubhouse and the fact that it was so serious. And, players are like the younger guys, especially, you've kind of put in their place with that kind of, we don't do that here type of thing, because they might be joking around trying to loosen everyone up in the clubhouse, and some of the old goats in the clubhouse didn't appreciate it or whatever. This team, in my opinion, has been way too serious, rigid, uptight. How can you play free and loose and confident baseball and also just release all of that positive energy when you're in a clubhouse that's quieter than a library? You're supposed to have fun playing the game. And you can have fun playing the game by also being serious about how you go about playing the game. But you also should be able to, break some of the pressure, the stress in the clubhouse by, loosening things up from time to time or a lot of time. Sonny Gray said something this week. I was reading the Washington Post. When they were in Baltimore, Chelsea Janes is a great baseball writer. She went over there to do the story about the surprising St. Louis Cardinals. And the first thing Sonny Gray said about this to Chelsea Janes, and I quote, and here's the quote, Sonny Gray, quote, "I think the difference is letting everybody be themselves, not putting all this unreasonable amounts of pressure and making everybody be a certain way and this and that and this and that. Just let guys go play." That was Sonny Gray. I botched the quote, but you understand it. He continued, Sonny Gray, quote, "Trying to create an environment here where they can thrive and feel comfortable on a daily basis and just letting everyone go play with no handcuffs or anything." Thank you, Sonny Gray, because that's exactly what needed to happen here. That's exactly what needed to happen here. And it's happening here. And if you ask me, that's awesome. A team should be, as I mentioned, should be really serious about putting in the work to improve and play better ball. And this team is serious about that. Ali Marmol told the story when they were coming back, wherever the heck they were coming back from. Maybe it was Kansas City. And, they weren't planning on having any pregame infield and all this stuff. And the Cardinals player said, no. We got to work on some things. We want to go out there for a while. They didn't have to do it. It was voluntary, right? They put in the work, but they also now to have fun. And when you have the talent, you have enough talented players where it matters if your team personality just fits that well, because the talent works in one way, but you add the personality to it, and then you've got something even better. If you work to improve, to play better ball, but that's all you do, and if you get so serious to the point where a team's got no personality, no identity, no flair, no unlimited displays of spirit, it's basically a bunch of robots, that's a problem. The Cardinals do not have that problem in 2025. Marmol, the coaches, the players have a colorful personality. They've taken that color, they've regenerated that colorful personality, or brought it out a lot more, I should say. They've put it back into Cardinals baseball. And it's part of why this team has created a new identity that works best for them, instead of trying to fit some old school template that is ridiculously outdated in this year, 2025. So that's all I got to say on this. I hope I hope I did a good enough job to, bring home the point of why the Cardinals are a team that really is a team. And that can make a difference. I think we're seeing that so far here in 2025. That'll do it for the Bernie Show. Thank you all for watching. As always, I appreciate your support. Leave some comments. Please subscribe, all that good stuff. And also thanks to, of course, DraftKings for presenting the Bernie Show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Have a great weekend, everyone.